Ray Nordstrand, Happy New Year.
Norm Pellegrini, Happy New Year.
And ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year to you. And thank you for being with us on our New Year's Eve and now New Year's Day Midnight Special. It's about 6 more hours to run. Lots of live talent already up in the studio with lots more to come. Lots of very friendly people here to entertain you and share this evening with all of us, and we appreciate that.
One difference this year is because of Fledermaus, we don't have time to get and grant requests, but we kind of granted potential requests last Saturday and some on our anniversary a couple of weeks before, and so we're going to do the rest of them tonight, things we know you'd want to hear, especially the more raucous and alcoholic ones.
However, we have somebody very special in the studio to sing a very special song for New Year's Eve. I think we're all sort of intimidated by the bagpipes. Now, mind you, George played magnificently. He always does, of course. But we weren't singing Auld Lang Syne with a lot of spirit. But
that's true.
But there is an extraordinary
Nor
lady.
with a lot of depth.
That's right.
This lady sang some of the verses we don't often hear. I saw her last Friday night at Holstein's, and what a delight. And she ended her show with this.
And how nice that she is back in our studio again after too long an absence. Rich Warren is going to introduce the lady, I believe. Rich?
Thanks, Norm. You know, it's really kind of nostalgic for me because my very first New Year's Eve at WFMT, Jo Mapes was one of the featured entertainers, and boy, was she great. And she's got a version of Auld Lang Syne that Ray says is just really moving. So here's Jo Mapes.
Thank you. It was funny when Ray came up and he said, gee, that's the definitive version of Auld Lang Syne. The only reason he said that, it's because I think I'm the only one who knows all the words. That's I think, what makes it the definitive version. It's not my version, it's Bobby Burns' version. And you know the song, so please come sing along with it. Anybody needs a translation afterwards, just write the studio and let them worry about it. Actually, we twa have paddled in the burn. Okay, paddled is paddled, and the burn is a river. And that's all you need to know for that one. And the rest you can pretty well figure out. All right, come on in. Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind, should all acquaintance be forgot and days of Auld Lang Syne, for Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. We twa have paddled in the burn frae morning sun till dine, but the seas between us braid now roar since Auld Lang Syne, for Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. So here's a hand, my trusty friend, and give us a hand of thine, and we'll take a right good weally walk for Auld Lang Syne, oh, for Auld Lang
my dear, for old lang syne, and we'll take a right good weary walk for old lang syne, and should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind, and should all acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne, for old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. Thank you.
Joe, thank you.
Yes, and Joe will be hearing more from you, as a matter of fact, and as we said, from lots of other people as well.
About 30 other people, to be specific.
Before you press that button, Mr. Nordstrand, we should mention that this is the portion of our all-night program brought to you by Tallman Home.
A great financial institution.
Dedicated solely to people like us. We work for a living. Boy, do we work for a living. We do sort of keep coming back, I suppose, to the same things every year, but they mean a lot to us, and we have a hunch they mean a lot to you, too. Mahalia Jackson, been heard on this station from the earliest days because of somebody named Studs Terkel, who brought this wonderful lady to our attention. That was even before she started making records for Columbia, remember?
The first New Year's Eve I was ever up at WFMT, which I guess was about 30 years ago, what I saw through the window was Studs Terkel and Mahalia Jackson.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Mahalia Jackson kept saying, Stud, Stud.
Yeah, she always called him Stud until the last, yes. Pardon me. We can't stay too serious on the Midnight Special.
Well, let's
very
do
long.
a message from Tallman, because
well, that is serious.
this is a nice one, and this is their
Okay.
only message tonight.
All right.
Happy New Year, Chicago. Happy New Year from Tallman. For 1987, Tallman wishes you joy and peace, health and prosperity. 365 days that are full, rich, rewarding, and satisfying. For everyone at Tallman, 1987 will be a year of serving you better than ever, a year of helping you plan for many years to come. Tallman, a great financial institution dedicated solely to people who work for a living.
That is nice. And now let the games begin. As usual, a Midnight Special has heart. That was Judy Henske, the irrepressible Judy Henske, and before that, Barbara Dane with Away with Rum by Gum.
I told you Saturday night that Norm would play that tonight.
Well, that's all right. After I'm gone, he's going to play that other thing. What is that on your breath, Ray? That's not champagne. It's some kind of pie, isn't it?
No, I played that last Saturday.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
You'll play it again anyway. We have a special greeting for somebody who just called.
There's a
didn't we?
marvelous lady who's made more than a dozen records that we have, and dozens more. This is one of her songs.
And Happy New Year to you, Ella, you doll. There's Ella Jenkins. The world is big, the world is small. We're happy the world has Ella Jenkins. And we're happy that our studio's got more and more people in their audience, as well as performers. And Rich Warren, take it away. Let's hear some more.
Boy, we got performers in here. Corky Siegel's in here, and Phil Cooper and Margaret Nelson, and Joe Mapes is still around, and Chris Farrell, and Dahlia Goldstein, all kinds of people have dropped by. Right now we have Phil Cooper and Margaret Nelson with Paul Goles, and we taped them for our Folk Stage Christmas concert a few weeks ago, and they were just great. And no people caress traditional music more lovingly than this trio of people, Phil Cooper, Margaret Nelson, and Paul Goles, and here they are.
Oh, Peggy Gordon, you are my darling. flask of brandy. It was my fancy, I do declare. For when I'm drinking, I'm always thinking and wishing that Peggy Gordon was there. So I'll go down to some lonesome valley where no man on earth may dare me find, where the pretty little small birds do change their voices, and every moment blows blusterous wine. Oh, baby Gordon, you are my darling. Come sit ye down, love, by my knee. Come tell to me the very reason why I am slighted so by thee.
Start it up, Paul.
Here we go.
Bill Cooper and Margaret Nelson. And here's Ray in the control room with Norm.
Marvelous. This is our party on New Year's Eve, running till 6 a.m. on the Midnight Special, brought to you by Tallman Home. You're listening to WFMT in Chicago, a program that's normally on just after 10 o'clock on Saturday night. And
Normally is hardly a word that applies.
1 o'clock on
That's
Wednesday
another
afternoon, and the time is exactly 12:30, half an hour into 1987. We hope you're having as much fun at your party as we are at ours, and here's kind of a little look at the kind of party we're having.
Well, I don't know, it's the most extraordinary experience I've ever.
There you are. Parties that might give you some inspiration for the rest of your New Year's Eve. We started out with Noel Coward singing his I Went to a Marvelous Party. And then Hermione Gingold and the Borgias are having an orgia.
And Shel Silverstein, a one-time Chicagoan,
freaking at the Freakers' Ball. But then, of course, there is the morning after.
I had 12 bottles of whiskey in my...
Which I drank.
If you feel anything like that right now, you better take one of those free buses or free taxis home. That was Henry Morgan, Googie Morgan. This is the New Year's Eve Midnight Special from WFMT in Chicago. This portion, until 6 a.m., being brought to you by Tallman Home Federal Savings and Loan Association. The Midnight Special began more than 30 years ago as a live program. It was, I think, 33 years ago that a group of singers named the Willow Singers, with Fleming Brown and Larry Ehrlich, were kind of sitting around the floor in the old converted ballroom of the Guyan Hotel in our original studio. And one of the people who was performing in that group at one point was a man named George Armstrong, and a lady named Jerry came and joined the group one time, and later they got married. And they're still married, and they're still singing, and they're here. Rich?
Well, actually, Ray, I thought that the fact of playing the 12 bottles before a Scotsman goes on was very appropriate for this particular moment. Those of you who can't see George Armstrong in his kilt and his whole Scots getup can see him 3 weeks from Friday at the University of Chicago Folk Festival, where he introduces the folk festival every year in his bagpipes and his kilt. And it's quite a sight to see, standing up on the stage of Mandel Hall and doing Scots songs on the bagpipe. But here he is with George and Jerry.
Sort of typical of the Scottish character. It goes like this. Oh, it fell about the Martinmas time, in a fine time it was then, oh, that our good wife had puddings to make, and she boiled them in the pan, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel. The wind it blew from east to west, it blew across the floor, oh. Said our good man to our good wife, get up and bar the door, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel. My hands are in my sewing kit, good man, as you may see, oh. If it's no barred for 7 years, it'll no be barred by me, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel. They made a pact between themselves, they made it fast and sure, oh. The first to speak the foremost word should rise and bar the door, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel. Now 2 gentlemen had lost their way at 2 o'clock of the night, oh. They couldn't find neither house nor hall, coal nor candlelight, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel. Now whether is this a rich man's house, or whether is it a poor, oh, but never a word will the old folks speak for the bar in of the door, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel. So first they ate the white pudding, and then they ate the black, oh. Says our good man unto himself, the devil go down with that, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel. Then the young man to the older said, here, man, take you my knife, oh, and you go shave the good man's beard, and I'll kiss the good wife, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel. Then our good there is no water in the house, as you may plainly see, oh. What ails you with the pudding brie that boils in the pan, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel. Then up spoke the old good man, and an angry man was he, oh. Would you kiss my wife before my een, and scald me with pudding brie, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel. And then up jumped the old good wife, gave 3 skips on the floor, oh. Good man, you spoke the foremost word, get up and bar the door, oh. And the bar in of our door, wheel, 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 and the bar in of our door, wheel.
That's George Jerry Armstrong. And we've got Chris Farrell and Corky Siegel up next. You may occasionally wonder why George forgets a lyric, it's because he's been playing bagpipes for 30 years, and you hyperventilate when you play bagpipes, and that's why all this hyperventilation over 30 years has caused George to occasionally miss a word or two, because he's so busy breathing that he forgets what he's going to say next. And now back to Norman Ray in the control room.
And here's a question for George in his kilts. That was Andy Stewart. Tonight, as was true last year, this midnight special is not complete without someone who was with us every year we can remember, the late Steve Goodman. The upside is that Minette Goodman is here tonight and Grandma Mary is here. And this is the moment we would say it's 9 minutes before 1. Do you know where your car is? Remember the day Steve called me and sang that to me over the phone after he had written it. Steve Goodman and his tribute to Partowing. It's now 5 minutes to 1, or 5 minutes to midnight for our Mountain State listeners. We'll have to have a little Happy New Year, Rich, in about 5 minutes for them. See, I understand you have the man who taught my daughter folk guitar there.
Actually, Ray, I remember when you called me on the phone and sang Lincoln Park Pirates to me after Steve sang it to you.
And then I sang it to Ross Cassio's lawyer.
But whereas Steve could carry a tune, of course, well, we won't talk about when you sang it to me, but I aired your version on WPGU down in downstate Illinois, so they thought you wrote it, but actually it was Steve Goodman, of course. And yes, your daughter was fortunate that Chris Farrell taught her folk music rather than her father, because Chris, of course, can indeed carry a tune as well as play an excellent guitar. And also, we rely on local singer-songwriters and folk singers in town to turn us on to new people who come to town and are learning the trade. And so after Chris, he's going to introduce somebody that he discovered here in town who's writing songs and singing. So first, Chris Farrell.
Thank you. Hi. It's a song I wrote for actually a friend of mine who's been around a lot longer than I have. He had some rough times, but he's got his guitar out again. He's playing. This is called Who Has the Music Now? I know you're tired, but don't stop the music. Lay down your burden, but not your guitar. You've paid the prices, the dues and the piper, but you've got the best of the bargain so far. Who chased the flame just to burn out too early? Who felt the fevered brow? Who lost it all in the whirling hurly-burly? But who has the music now? Trade all the rages, the sorrow and sadness, turn in the tears you have worn for so long. Write down the sounds of the hopeless and hungry. Buy back your soul for a dance and a song. Who kept the faith when the saviors were lying? Who found a prayer somehow? Who lost it all when the demon left him dying? But who has the music now? Sleep by the singer, she'll hold you till morning. Tell her the stories that haunt you all night. Wake to the sound of a glorious chorus. Wake to the warmth of a beautiful light. Who gave his heart to an unfaithful lover? Who heard the broken bow? Who lost it all to the hustlers and the hunger? But who has the music now? Who has the music now? Who has the music now?
Thank you.
Chris Farrell. And Rich, I wonder if we could lead up to 1 a.m. here, because for all our listeners in the mountain states, it's going to be the new year. Listeners on cable systems who are listening to us as a superstation around the country, and this is the time that all those fine people in the mountain states are about to celebrate New Year. So I wonder if you could get everybody in the studio to shout in about 10 seconds, Happy New Year.
Well, we got 5 seconds to go, folks. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year!
Oh, all the money that you. God bless.
Liam Clancy welcoming you to 1987 in the Mountain States, and back to Rich Warren.
And we have in the studio somebody that Chris Farrell introduced us to. Somebody's been playing at the Earl's Pub on Lincoln and over at the Roxy. She's going to be there in a few weeks, as a matter of fact, and sometime in February as well. Please welcome Dahlia Goldstein.
Hi. Actually, I'm going to be at Holstein's January 21st, so if you like this next song, come hear me. I wrote it about a guy who left quite an impression on me, and my New Year's resolution is that I never want to see him again. You know? This is called He Likes the Sound of His Own Voice. Well, that boy's got a problem. He talks too much, he doesn't know when to shut up. When we went out for coffee, I didn't think I'd be sitting in a lecture hall. Well, no conversation at all. At first I tried to be polite. Well, it's not that he's abrasive. He's just too busy realizing himself. You think maybe he noticed I wasn't listening? He may as well talk to a spoon, recite his speech to his spoon. Didn't think I'd want to bring a friend. He liked the sound of his own voice, to see his breath in the cold air. Well, he needs to see a doctor. These aren't good manners for a grown man to have. 'Cause boy, if you let him, he'll tell you nothing that you'd ever want to know. Well, nothing that you'd want to know. And I've no patience for a flake. Well, he liked the sound of his own voice, to see his breath in the cold air.
Thank you. Now it's 5 3/4 minutes into the new year in the Mountain States. You're listening to WFMT in Chicago. This is the Midnight Special. This is a show that's going to go on until 6 in the morning, brought to you by Tallman. And this is our annual sing-along.
Now the ladies of the harem of the court of King...
Joe Stafford and Paul Weston, wasn't it? And Aline Edwards, they called themselves. Before that, we heard The Court of King Caractacus by Rolf Harris. And you can sing along with us, too. And that was Wally Cox. And this is the Midnight Special, New Year's Eve edition, from WFMT, Chicago's usually fine arts station at 98.7 FM, and various other spots on the dial around the country if you're listening to us via cable as a superstation. This 6 hours, now till 6 a.m., is being brought to you by Tallman Home Federal Savings and Loan Association. Happy New Year, Chicago. Happy New Year from Tallman. For 1987, Tallman wishes you joy and peace, health and prosperity. 365 days that are full, rich, rewarding, and satisfying. For everyone at Tallman, 1987 will be a year of serving you better than ever, a year of helping you plan for many years to come. Tallman, a great financial institution dedicated solely to people who work for a living. We played all the requests we thought you'd want. Last Saturday, we played the 35 greatest hits in the 35 years of WFMT, of Midnight Special type stuff. And tonight we have some leftovers and some of the more wild things that we thought were appropriate for New Year's Eve. And in the studio, we have a whole bunch of wild guests to enhance the show. It's now 1:15 into 1987, and here's Rich.
Leftovers, huh, Ray?
I'm glad you made a differentiation from the studio and the
right.
From the studio.
Actually, according to Steve Jones, your engineer, Ray, you played 39 of the greatest hits last week, not 35. And
I played 4 of them only partially, though.
Oh, well, in any event, without Steve Jones's help, you probably wouldn't have gotten through those 4. So, and as far as tonight's concerned, without Mary Gaffney's help, we wouldn't get any live music because she's engineering this Midnight Special. That's right. And one of our favorite improvisational musicians is sitting at the piano, somebody who's certainly not a leftover, but who always has a surprise or two for us, Corky Siegel.
There. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I feel very proud tonight because after the last 3 years of forgetting words every time and lyrics every time that I perform here, I think I've started something. And I did the 35-year anniversary, and we had some word forgetters there too. And I decided this time I'm going to try and break the tradition, and the only way I could be sure of doing that is doing an instrumental. But I'm not going to. I chickened out. I'm going to go for the lyrics part again, and we'll see what happens here. But I'm doing a one I've been doing for enough years that I should know this one by now pretty well. Smiles at me, she's sweeter than the sugar from the sugar bee. And when my sweet tea kisses me, stardust falling from my eyes. But when she gets upset at me, boy, she pounds her fists on the bedroom door. She smashes those dishes, I'm glad her aim is poor. Jumping up and down all upon the floor. She's so cute, she's so cute, she's so cute. I wanna get my baby angry with me some more. Every time I hear her voice, I'm whisked away to heaven, I don't have a choice. And then she squeezes me, I'm toothpaste in her arms. But when she gets upset at me, boy, it's 1, 2, 3, she never makes it to 10. She didn't learn to fight by applying Zen. She runs all around like a rabid hen. She's so cute, she's so cute. I like to get my baby angry with me again. Thank you. Well, then she says she loves me so I get tingles up and down my spine, don't you know? Then she turns the lights down low. Ooh, so sweet and low. But when she gets upset at me, boy, she holds her breath till her face turns white. She bitches and she scratches and she likes to bite. It's quite a little sight when my baby's uptight. She's so cute, she's so cute, she's so cute. I like to get my baby angry with me. That's right.
Yeah, Cork. Thank you very much, Corky Siegel. On our New Year's Eve midnight special, you think you've heard the last tavern in the town? was 1955 in Kahn Auditorium of Northwestern University. I and about 1,000 other people singing along, and Pete Seeger and Big Bill Brunzi doing Down by the Riverside. We should have played it from the tape. We got a lot of scratches on that record that the late Mo Ash made out of our tape. But that's a hope that is obviously the paramount one for 1987, with all that's going on in the world, a hope for peace in the new year. Another hope we have here in Chicago is the Super Bowl victory of the Bears, and in about 2 minutes you're going to hear the new definitive Chicago Bears song, exclusive, with the whole audience joining. But first, here's the Tavern in the Town we were going to play a minute ago.